1460 WVOX.
Stay tuned now for the Racing for Heroes radio show with host Brett Morash on 1460 WVOX.
All right, good morning, everyone. It's September 11th, 2020, 19 years after a tragedy that really set in motion sort of the world order that we're in today. And I don't want to forget that today, as I know my military career, although 20 years, the vast amount of it was actually framed because of the events of 9/11. And because of that, we really, today is a solemn day, and so thank you. Moving on, today, Racing for Heroes is a 501c3, a nonprofit based out of Virginia, but we have a national reach, and we use motorsports to provide outreach to the racing community, the veteran community, really trying to raise awareness for things like suicide prevention and things like that in the veteran community. And if you go to our website, it's www.racingforheroes.org, and you'll have a chance to see some of the programs that we run to help support the veteran community. So without further ado, though, we're going to jump right into our first guest, which is Chief Warrant Officer 3, Mike Evock, U.S. Army retired, who served in the U.S. Army Special Forces, which is otherwise known as the Green Berets, specifically the 7th Group. And if you don't know really about the Green Berets, Mike's going to talk about that for a little bit. So without further ado, Mike, are you on the radio?
You got me, Brett?
Yep, loud and clear. How are you doing, Mike?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. And, so thanks for being on our show today. And, I did want to thank you again. I mean, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have Racing for Heroes as an organization and really be talking about the things we're talking about today. So thank you for that.
Oh, no. That's I just enjoy doing it, Brett. You know that.
Oh, I know, but the listeners don't know, Mike.
Right on. I got you.
Yeah. So, Mike, I think the first question is that, we've all heard about the Navy SEALs and, Delta Force and stuff like that. But, when it comes to the Green Berets, not a lot of people know what the Green Berets are. I mean, there was a John Wayne movie, and then, of course, the Ballad of the Green Beret by Staff Sergeant Barry Sadler, who was a Green Beret and #1 song on the radio. But, really is the Green Berets all about?
Because, most people hear about Navy SEALs and things like that because of TV and books. The Green Berets are similar except for a small unit. We're 12 guys on an ODA, on an Operational Detachment Alpha. And, like SEALs and your Delta Force are kinetic ops, where they're doing direct action. Special Forces does direct action, but most of our focus is on foreign internal defense and training the host nation how to take care of business themselves, and in intelligence gathering. Pretty much. That's the difference between us and the others. Is we're just a small unit, 12 guys out there operating, sometimes half an ODA, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the main difference between us and like Navy SEALs.
For sure. And you were actually part of a 7th Group, right? Which had like a focus regionally, right? So like when I hear like 7th Group, what does that kind of mean to the listeners?
Well, the 7th Group, we call ourselves the Red Empire because our flash on our berets red. We operate mostly in Central and South America over the years, and then, of course, we did our rotations to Afghanistan and a handful over to Iraq occasionally. A couple teams went over to Iraq to work also.
Gotcha. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you spent a lot of your career in sort of the post 9/11, which, as you know, today is 9/11, 19th anniversary. But you spent a lot of your career in Afghanistan, right?
I got a handful of tours over there. Most of my career, to be honest, was, of course, I was in the first Gulf War, and then Afghanistan. I got a tour in Iraq then, the second time, a couple times in Afghanistan. But most of my time's been in Central and South America, running counter narcotics most of the time.
Gotcha. So it's the stories that we don't really hear about that are going on out there to keep America safe.
Exactly. It's the things that you don't hear about that the SF guys are doing all over the world, over in Asia, we're all over the planet at any given day.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, when people kind of think of like the Green Berets, they sort of think of the John Wayne movie, which I believe it was fifth group back in the day was in Southeast Asia, but now they have a different area of responsibility in the world. And then, if I'm not wrong, isn't it true that there are actually like reserve component guys, National Guard, that are actually part of the Green Berets as well?
Yes, there's a 20th group and 19th group, and I think there may be another one. I can't remember all the National Guard units, but yeah, there's several of those also.
Gotcha. And Mike, let me ask this question. So, you did a full career in the Army, and then transitioned, and then came into this racing world. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How did you end up in racing?
Well, as a kid, I dabbled in it when I was a kid, and I always liked motorcycles, and then with age, I just kind of put a cage around me rather than flying through the air on a dirt bike or an ATV, just because it hurts a little bit when you land wrong. So, I just got into that, and I picked it up, and it filled that void for me. It gave me something to do, and all my guys hanging out with me helped me build the cars, and a couple of them got their own cars, and it kind of just dwarfed into its own thing. The next thing I know, I got 30 guys hanging out at the shops or at the pits with me trying to help out and see if we could make the car go faster.
Yeah, I got you. And if I'm not mistaken, you actually are the 773 car, right? That's your car. And
yeah, the 773.
Now you could have picked obviously a lot of different numbers. Is there anything special about 773?
Yeah, that was my operational detachment ODA number that I retired from. So I spent most of my warrant officer career, which is about 9 years, on that team, and that's the team I retired from. So that's why I run that number.
Gotcha. And is like that, but that's like a specific unit, right? That you served with. Is that kind of how that number really is?
Yeah, it goes down. It's an indicator, a number to indicate the team, what battalion, what group they're in. Nowadays, it's 4 numbers. They changed the 4 numbers because they got a 4th battalion now, and I don't really know how that number works.
Well, that'd be a lot of numbers on a race car, Mike. So
yeah, we're not going to put 4 on there. We'll stick to the simple 3.
I don't think so. and I think one thing I think that's kind of special about your car is it's almost like a moving, although kind of like post 9/11 way, a moving wall, like the Vietnam Wall, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it carries all the names of all the SOF personnel that have been killed from 9/11 till present. I update it whenever we can when I say present, so it may have been, I just updated that car 2 months ago with the list. So we carry all the SOF personnel on there because, unfortunately, we can't fit everybody, but we do carry everybody on the car hauler that we've lost from 9/11 till present. That includes the people in training also.
Yeah,
and they're marked. Sure. They're marked with an asterisk on the car and on the trailer.
Right, and as you know, I think that anyone, obviously today is here in New York is really was a devastating day, with over 3,000 people killed. But as other people were killed either in Pennsylvania in the crash in the field or at the Pentagon, and I think that affected all of us in the military, where we knew someone at least who had been killed on September 11th, actual.
Yeah, let's not forget the people that suffered from cancer and everything afterwards from the dust and the smoke and all that. Definitely can't forget about that. That's a second order of effects from the blast.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's a fairly large number, I believe.
Yeah, it's stunning. I mean, every day there's someone. So, Mike, when you had a chance though to found Racing for Heroes, why did you do that? Like, why did you create the nonprofit? What is like the mission set?
Well, the elevator speech on that one was, the mindset was to give the guys a task and purpose. And when I originally started, I was on a board of another nonprofit trying to help them out, and I just seen that they had a different goal, a different mindset, and it seemed like they were headed towards propaganda and exploiting guys that were missing arms and legs and things like that. So That's why I started the nonprofit up, was to be honest with the guys and take care of the veterans and not do it for a selfless, just being selfish and putting money in my pocket like a lot of them do.
Yeah.
And that's why I did it.
For sure. And is there any particular success story that you think is just like really, I think, important to kind of discuss about like what came out of Racing for Heroes?
Oh, we have, I have 9,000 texts I could, put up of, hey, thank you for saving my life. You gave me task and purpose.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have realized everything I got going on. And just there's a lot of them, but I don't ever put those up because they're personal texts they send to me. So I don't ever put those up and flash them on TV or, on the website or anything.
Sure. Yeah. And I hear you. But I think that it is that really kind of community base that really matters, where you're giving people an opportunity to kind of relive and have that camaraderie that they were so missing from not being in the military anymore. Oh,
absolutely. That's huge. And, you look at Jimmy's success with the drag car, and that's what keeps him going. He's been through a lot of dark times, and, Jimmy's one of the bigger success stories with the Racing for Heroes coming on board with us. There's tons of other guys that, I just can't think of off the top of my head. That I don't want to throw their names out there, but, a lot of the guys that gave jobs, and then they come in, they talk to us and find out they're not the only ones. And, the guys coming out of Walter Reed, you get wounded in combat, take a flight to Germany, and then you come to Walter Reed, and you lost contact with your brothers, You don't see any of them for 9-10 months, and when you're done at Walter Reed, you're out there waiting to catch a bus to go home, and they're in that dark spot because they're used to having their brothers to the left and right,
Yeah. No, and again, I mean, I think we have Racing for Heroes, you to either blame or thank, Mike. So I appreciate it.
Right on. Yeah.
Hey, so we're going to have Colin Garrett on in a minute, and I know he's waiting, but I do have one. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Like, tell me about that, Mike. That's like super late breaking news. Yeah. Like if we had a bar here on the bar.
Yeah. Tim McCready, he's a very hot shoe in the Lucas Oil Series, and the Lucas Oil Series is the premier dirt racing series in the world, and it does it's a phenomenal series. And Tim McCready and his car owner Donald Brasher. Donald was just a soul of the earth, great human being, great American. And I sat down and had breakfast with him one day, and they asked about running a logo and teaming up and becoming partners. And what are you going to do? Hell yeah, we'll take that.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome. And I think we're looking more toward that, and hopefully we'll have a chance to interview Tim. And I know we're going to be having Jimmy on in a few weeks, so I think we're pretty excited about that. And hey, Mike, before we have, I just have one question for you. I'm assuming you've seen the movie Talladega Nights, right?
Yep.
What's your favorite quote from Talladega Nights?
There's a lot of them, but I'm good. If you ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last. All right. No, I appreciate that, Mike. And you get to be our first person here. But so we're going to have the other part of Shake and Bake here today. We're going to have Colin on in a few minutes. So, Mike, thanks for calling in today. Looking forward to it. And next week, we're actually going to be remote calling in from Virginia down at our headquarters there. So I think we're looking forward to that.
Yep, and I'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. All right, see you next week. All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much. And so that was Mike Evock again, our founder for Racing for Heroes. Couldn't do it without him. But next, we're going to have on NASCAR driver Colin Garrett. Colin, are you on the radio?
Yeah, I'm here.
Colin, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. And Colin, I'm guessing just from your accent, you're not from up here in New York. Is that true?
I don't have much of an accent, no.
I don't know. I pick it up. It's not quite Ricky Bobby, but I still think it's from a little further south in the Mason-Dixon.
More of a Midwest accent.
Right. And Colin, you actually are like a no kidding NASCAR driver, like 20 years old, ripping up the track, right? Like you can't even drink yet, but you're in a sport that started with moonshining. Is that pretty fair?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically it. It's accurate.
But you're not running moonshine, obviously, or anything like that. So I don't know if there's any skills that are.
I mean, I wouldn't say if I was not.
You can't talk about it. So let me start with this, Colin. You're driving the number 26 Toyota Supra Racing for Heroes car out of Sam Hunt Racing, right? And you could be driving lots of different cars. So tell me about how did you end up in the Racing for Heroes saddle?
So, yeah, Sam and I first met, that was probably 4 years ago now at this point, 2016, and he was he came down and was running or partnered up with the late model team here in Danville, Virginia,
Gotcha.
where I race out of. And we just kind of, grew our relationship, and then we ended up going to the K&N series together. And we ended up, moving up a little bit. And then we heard of Racing for Heroes that was actually out here right beside us, and we didn't even know. And so we went out and talked to Mike and Darren and Brian and all those guys. And, the relationship kind of grew from there. And, we carried them on the car for, I think, pretty much every race last year.
Yeah, it was on the quarter panel.
And, in the K&N series. And then, obviously, when we moved up to the Xfinity series, we still are proud to have them there on the car, too. So that's been really cool to have. So
so you actually have – and I was kind of going through some of your races this year. But let me ask a quick question. So, but you actually have heroes in your family that you're driving for, right? Like 2 brothers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yep. So I've got one brother who's stationed at Fort Hood, the wonderful place of Fort Hood, and
it's like living in a hairdryer.
Echo. Yeah, and he flies the Apache Echo, and I've got another brother up at Fort Belvoir, and I don't really know what he does. He does something. So
right, but they'd have to kill all the listeners if we knew what he did, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, no, but listen, I think that's awesome, and obviously, so you're driving for your brothers. And really getting the word out. But let's talk about like your racing. So I saw that in the Hooters 250 you came in 14th, right? And in the Kansas Lottery 300 you came in 16th, right? But you actually have to start at the back of the pack. So how did you do that? Like, what's the kind of backstory?
Yeah, so now that with COVID and everything, NASCAR is not letting us qualify for some reason, and so that's kind of. But they have upped the field to where it's normally 36 cars, so we'd have to qualify into the field and stuff since we don't run every week. But
right.
Now we're guaranteed a spot every week, but we don't qualify, so we have to start last car or whatever, unless a car that's further back in points than we are comes. So we start last and we go out, and we're faster than the next 20-some cars. But a lot of these tracks is so hard to pass once you get the tires worn out a little bit. So
for sure.
We've just had to kind of play our head smart and go. And, I mean, it's kind of screwed us in the long run in the races because we're having to use extra sets of tires to get by all the cars and stuff. But,
yeah.
It's still pretty fun to be out there racing with all the big guys and stuff and putting your name out there racing on TV. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I guess you have another race coming up, right? It's the NASCAR Gander RV Outdoors Truck Series on October 16th. That's at Kansas as well, right? Is that what I'm?
Yeah. So we'll be racing back at Kansas in the Truck Series, and hopefully, if everything goes well, we'll be back in the 26 Supra there for Sam Hunt Racing. But right now, I'll be in a Nice Motorsports Chevy Silverado, so that'll be pretty fun to get back to Kansas and get back in a truck.
I hope Toyota Racing Division isn't upset about that.
Well, I'm not a Toyota driver, so until they start giving me money or something, then I can do whatever.
But I heard you drive a Chevy Tahoe, though. Like, that's because I think that's important. Like, how does the race car driver even get to the track besides Gulfstream 3s or something like that? I mean, you're driving a Chevy Tahoe, right?
Yeah, I'm literally sitting in there right now. So I'm actually sitting outside my gym, Trey Belcher Training, and just sitting here in my Tahoe. So
gotcha.
Everyone always gives me crap that I drive a Tahoe and race a Toyota, but like I said, still Toyota steps up.
I'm a Toyota. I drive a 4Runner, and my wife drives a Land Cruiser, so we're a Toyota family. So
yeah, I want a 4Runner so bad. I want the TRD Pro. That thing.
I don't have the Pro.
All black.
I have the off-road, so that I have the one step down. Yeah, I love it. But hey, let me talk about that race though, because you're trying to get into the race the following day, right? The Saturday race, the Xfinity Series. So in a lot of ways, you're really kind of starting your own business, right? And a lot of this is sort of what I like to think is kind of the tyranny of sponsorships and ability to race, especially when you have a car that's kind of already named as Racing for Heroes. Because I know there's really no money, if you will, kind of going back and forth in a sponsorship way. But how do you keep driving out there? Like, what do you have to do? Tell our listeners about how hard this is.
Yeah, it's been almost like a business, just trying to build relationships with all the different companies and stuff, and you're trying to essentially grow your customers. I mean, they're paying you to pretty much go put their name out there, so they're essentially paying customers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just trying to grow a relationship with all those guys and whoever, and just trying to, market yourself as well as possible. So, make yourself as likable as possible for other companies.
For sure.
It's been a hell of a ride, but hopefully we can, keep it going and get more sponsors and, get ready for 2021. But yeah, it's not fun.
No. And listen, if there's anyone out there listening right now and you're looking to have a shot at helping out Colin, please reach out to me after the show. Email me at, morashb@racingforheroes.org, and I'll put you all in contact. So I appreciate that, Colin.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, all right, Colin. So I got some fun questions for you, though. So I have I have a whole list, and I know you don't know the list, so I won't do the Talladega Nights one because I know you know that one. All right. So what is the best racing movie ever?
Let's see.
And I'll give you a skip if you want. You want to skip? All right. How about this?
I don't know. Yeah.
How about what's your worst car breakdown story?
Worst car breakdown story? Probably Watkins Glen 2018. Or wait, does it have to be a race car?
No, you pick. It's whatever just jumps in your head. You pick.
All right, so Watkins Glen 2018, that was awful. We went through 8 batteries that race. My guys could change a battery in 2 minutes. It was the fastest battery pit stops ever. And it was awful because every
8 batteries.
I don't think it was 8. It was probably more 3 or 4. But still, that's a lot of batteries for a race.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah. So we got going on lap 3 battery, or all my electronics went out. So I'd come down pit road, I swap batteries, go back out, and then again 10 laps later goes out again, and then later on in the race did it, and then coming out of the went through the bus stop and then through the what is that called? The carousel at the backstretch on Watkins Glen, and all of a sudden my whole car just shuts off. And I come down pit road, and the engine blew up or whatever. I was oh my God.
No.
So it was terrible.
That is terrible. So I'm assuming that wasn't cheap either. So
no, not at all. But
gotcha.
I remember walking back to the trailer, and that was with 3 laps to go or whatever. And I was walking back to the trailer, and one of the other team owners, who's a good friend of ours, Mark Garrett, he was walking by, and he's like, "Man, if you didn't have any bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck at all." So,
gotcha. All right,
that season was pretty bad.
Hey, so I actually have a question for you. So, you're a NASCAR driver, and back when I was a kid, I was watching Richard Petty and Bobby Labonte and those guys. And those cars were a lot more similar, I think, to modern passenger cars. Is there any tips you can give anyone out there? What's a racing driver thing that you could impart knowledge on to the regular driver to make their life better?
I don't know. I mean, this is not obviously
not bump
DMV
drafting
approved or whatever, but I left foot brake a lot. And that helps me a bunch. I mean, because you're already on the brake.
Yeah.
You don't want to be pressing the brake, but your foot's already there. You don't have to have that 7 3/4 of a second or whatever to get your foot from the gas pedal over there. You risk it gets caught on the brake pedal. I don't know. I've always left foot brake, and you obviously do in the race cars. And then
it's blowing my mind even thinking of that.
yeah. I mean, I can't right foot brake. It is the most awkward thing ever. And then I'd say also probably just knowing your vehicle. It's a big deal. I know a lot of people won't be able to tell when their suspension, just kind of fully loads or whatever. But it's just you can just feel the limit of your car. Don't obviously go really fast, but just being I can take this corner at 55 instead of 35,
yeah.
Which is a big thing around here because people like to go very slowly on back roads.
Right.
So,
yeah, for sure. I try to hit the apex in the roads down there when I'm driving. But
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll take you for a ride when we get.
I'll be down there next week. We'll have a good time. We'll go on the rally track.
Exactly.
My kids are coming too, so they're looking forward to it. So
awesome. Yeah.
And listen, Colin, thank you very much. We're just down to kind of the last couple of minutes of the show. And so just is there anything else that you like to talk about? Anything I can help plug for you?
I don't know. I mean, just obviously support Racing for Heroes and the Rosie Network. We haven't really gotten to talk about them, but Stephanie Brown and the Rosie Network, they've done a lot for veteran entrepreneurs and trying to get them get their businesses started. So
right.
They're definitely a big deal. And if you're looking for jewelry, check out the Jewelry Republic. And
mm-hmm.
just I'll check out all my sponsors. We have them all on my website.
What's your website?
And the American Dream Team.
Yeah, what's your website?
So I've got ColinGarrettRacing.com, and then our team, our kind of veteran organized team, is OurAmericanDreamTeam.com, and that has, I think, everyone who supports us. I think they're all on there. So, yeah, go check it out and go support them. So. Yeah,
and I think the Rosie Network, those guys are amazing. It's basically entrepreneurs who are connected to the veteran space, really small business, just fantastic folks. And if you have a chance you want to buy American, you want to buy veteran, that's the place to go in my book.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. For sure. Well, Colin, looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you as always, and we're going to be looking forward to seeing you on the 16th, and hopefully we'll check in before you have a chance to go race, okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, my friend. Well, so thank you very much. And so we're kind of in the last minute of our show here. And before we end with our Racing for Heroes theme song, which I'll talk about in a second, if you like the show, please look us up on our Facebook page at Racing for Heroes. We're going to be posting this on our YouTube channel, and then if you want to see what Racing for Heroes does, please go to our website. It's www.racingforheroes.org, and then we're going to be here every Friday at 11 o'clock to 11:30 here on 1460 AM or worldwide on WVOX. And you can hear it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to leave you right now with a song called A Little Further Down the Road by Doug Lane, who's an Army veteran, served in the Army band, and he is a musician, and this is the Racing for Heroes theme song. So enjoy. Thank you, and have a great day.